She announced her pregnancy at my mom's funeral, in front of my family, in front of my fiancé. Then she dropped the real bomb. "It's Roy's baby!" My name, my ruined life. I hadn't touched her in 2 years. My fiancé ran out, in tears. My aunt screamed. My dad punched a wall. And me? I just stood there paralyzed. My name's Roy Maddox. I was 34 when my life exploded in a church parking lot. It started simple. My mother passed after a sudden stroke. Devastating. Yeah, but peaceful. I'd just proposed to my girlfriend Lila the week before. We were planning the funeral while house hunting. I thought my biggest stress was deciding between crown molding and recessed lighting. Then my ex showed up. Her name? Cassidy Vane. Sounds like a B-movie villain? She's worse. We hadn't spoken in 2 years. No texts, no sightings. Our breakup had been nuclear. She keyed my car, tried to poison my dog. Thank God she used sugar instead of rat poison, and made a fake Tinder profile of me describing myself as a closet furry looking for a sugar daddy. I got ghosted by my barber for weeks, but that day, she walked into the funeral dressed in all white. Not black, white, like she was the grieving widow. She actually hugged my father and whispered, "He's in a better place now," like she'd known my mom. They'd met once, and Cassidy tried to sell her essential oils for arthritis. The service ended. We gathered in the lot. Lila was by my side. We were exhausted, tear-stained, heartbroken, and then Cassidy climbed onto the steps by the hearse and said, "I have something to say." Oh no, I didn't want to ruin this day, but I can't stay silent anymore. I'm pregnant. Dead. Silence. I was about to laugh. Like, what? Then she turned to me and said, "It's Roy's baby." My jaw dropped. I hadn't even hugged her since Trump was in office. The closest I'd been to her was on a courthouse bench when we fought over a stolen vacuum. She took mine and left me with her broken one. Lila let go of my hand like it was poison. Her eyes filled. My family turned to me. "Roy?" my cousin asked, his voice sharp. Cassidy put her hands on her belly. "We had one night. I thought we were reconnecting. I didn't know he'd moved on." I couldn't even speak. I just shook my head like a broken bobblehead. Then my dad snapped, punched the hood of his truck so hard he left a dent. Lila burst into tears and ran to her car. My aunt started screaming Bible verses. My grandma fainted. Cassidy just stood there like the queen of chaos. After she left, flouncing like she'd won something, I drove straight to Lila's. She wouldn't open the door, wouldn't answer my calls. I sat on her porch for 2 hours, until her roommate told me to leave or she'd call the cops. My life ruined in under 5 minutes. I called Cassidy the next day, blocked, of course. She had a new number, so I emailed. No response. 2 weeks later, I was served court papers, paternity and child support demand, $3,400 per month, backdated 8 months. She'd already filed a birth certificate, my name included. Kid's name? Legend Orion Vane. Legend. Orion Vane. My lawyer, Clay, was the only person who believed me. "Roy," he said, "you're the 7th guy this year I've represented over phantom paternity scams." Phantom paternity? It's a real thing. Fake hookups, forged timelines, weaponized fertility apps. We filed an emergency motion for a DNA test. That's when it got weirder. Cassidy refused the test. Her reason? Religious trauma. Clay laughed so hard in court, the judge threatened contempt. The judge ordered the test anyway, but Cassidy vanished. Phone disconnected. Apartment empty. Her socials? Gone. Except one TikTok slipped through the cracks. She posted a crying video in a Starbucks bathroom. Caption: "When the man who said he loved you denies your child because his new girl has trust issues, mom life. Deadbeat dad, FIP." That post had 92,000 likes. She turned me into a villain online. Influencer martyrdom. Her comments were full of praise and donations. She'd even set up a GoFundMe. Help legend Orion have a stable life. Raised $14,000 in 5 days. Clay and I dug deeper. We found something, a receipt, from a maternity boutique in Utah. 5 months before Cassidy's announcement, the name, on the receipt, Rachel Dunn, a missing woman from Boise, and that's when Clay said it. "Roy, I think she bought this baby." Clay and I sat in his office, both staring at the receipt like it was a cursed relic. "Rachel Dunn," he repeated, tapping the paper. "We need to find out who this is. Now." I was still stuck on what he'd said earlier. Bought a baby. That sounded insane. But then again, Cassidy, faking a pregnancy at my mother's funeral, was already in lunatic territory. Clay made a few calls, pulled some contacts. Within 24 hours, we found it. Rachel Dunn, age 23, reported missing in December. Vanished after responding to a Craigslist ad offering housing assistance for single pregnant women. No suspects, no leads, just a family posting desperate pleas online and holding candlelight vigils. It hit me like a gut punch. What if Cassidy wasn't just scamming me? What if she'd done something to that woman? But we couldn't go to the cops with just a baby boutique receipt. So Clay hired a private investigator. A real one, not the budget kind who follows cheating husbands. This guy was ex-FBI. He called himself Briggs. He wore wraparound sunglasses indoors. I trusted him instantly. Meanwhile, I went back to damage control. Lila still wouldn't talk. To me. Her roommate Claire finally called me. Said Lila had moved in with her sister upstate. She didn't want to see me. She believed the baby was mine. Cassidy had messaged her directly. She sent screenshots. Roy abandoned me after I told him, "Please don't let him pretend to be innocent. I was pregnant when he proposed to you." I wanted to throw my phone across the room. This woman wasn't just lying. She was rewriting history and weaponizing it. Briggs worked fast. Within 3 days, he found Cassidy. She was living in a 2-bedroom condo under a different name. Cassidy Wren. New driver's license. New utility bills. Same chaos. She'd rented the place in a gated community outside Scottsdale. And she wasn't living alone. She had a baby. A real one. Maybe 4 months old. But here's the kicker. The birth certificate filed under Cassidy. Wren listed, Father Roy Maddox. Same lie. Different state. Clay's eyes lit up. This is federal now. Interstate fraud, identity falsification. She's crossed into criminal territory. We filed an emergency order to compel DNA testing and petitioned for a cease and desist on the GoFundMe. But Cassidy stayed 2 steps ahead. She doubled down on TikTok, new content, bigger lies. My baby's father abandoned us after I gave birth on my kitchen floor. The hospital refused to help me because I had no insurance. My ex's new fiancé convinced him to disown his child. The internet devoured it. Her GoFundMe ballooned to $34,000. She bought a Range Rover. She filmed inside it. Sometimes a mom just needs luxury to survive the trauma. I nearly had an aneurysm. But then Briggs called with the break we needed. I found her. Found who? I asked, heart pounding. Rachel Dunn. Alive. Safe. But traumatized. Rachel had been lured by Cassidy under the promise of rent-free housing while pregnant. Cassidy told her she ran a charity that helped struggling mothers. Rachel was 6 months pregnant and desperate. She moved in. Then Cassidy started isolating her, took her phone, cut off her access to friends, controlled her meals. She called it prenatal detox. By the time Rachel realized she was in trouble, she couldn't get out. Cassidy had been planning this for months. When Rachel gave birth, in an actual hospital, Cassidy showed up with forged documents claiming she was Rachel's sister. Told the hospital Rachel had severe postpartum psychosis and needed immediate psychiatric care. The baby, discharged into Cassidy's custody. Rachel tried reporting it. But with no ID, no proof, and no phone, she was labeled unstable and left adrift. She finally escaped to a shelter and used a borrowed computer to search her name. That's when she found Cassidy's TikTok and a baby that looked exactly like hers. Rachel sent a tip through Clay's law firm website, not knowing we were already hunting Cassidy down. When we spoke to her, she broke down sobbing. "I just want my son back," she whispered. "She said she'd help me. I didn't know she was going to steal him." Clay wasted no time. We called in every favor: judges, social services, federal contacts. In 48 hours, we had an order: DNA testing for the baby, temporary custody freeze, and a subpoena for Cassidy to appear in court. I didn't sleep for 2 straight days. Then came court. Cassidy arrived like she was attending a movie premiere. Flowy dress, oversized sunglasses, full glam. She sauntered in like she owned the courtroom until she saw Rachel. Sitting across the room, alive, sober, holding a copy of the baby's hospital discharge form. Cassidy's entire expression cracked like cheap plaster. Then Rachel stood. "Your Honor," she said, voice trembling but clear. "That's my son." Rachel's words didn't echo. They detonated. "That's my son." Everyone in the courtroom froze. The judge, the clerk, the bailiff, all suddenly alert like they'd just realized the soap opera was real. Cassidy blinked once, twice, then did what she always did, smiled. "Oh, sweetie," she cooed, with the same tone she probably used on her TikTok followers. You're confused. You had a hard pregnancy. You don't remember signing the papers, do you? The judge's gavel slammed. Ms. Vane, excuse me, Ms. Wren, he corrected, peering over his glasses. You will speak only when addressed. Cassidy crossed her arms, suddenly silent, but her eyes darted fast, calculating. She was scanning for exits, metaphorical or literal. Rachel stood firm, holding up a document. Your Honor, this is the intake form from St. Luke's Hospital. It shows my name, my medical records, and the baby's discharge papers. That's my son. Then Clay got up. Your Honor, he said, voice crisp, we've submitted documentation confirming Ms. Dunn's maternity, and we're requesting expedited DNA testing to establish paternity and verify the child's identity. Cassidy rolled her eyes. DNA? Again? What is this, Maury? No one laughed. The judge didn't blink. In this courtroom, DNA is not entertainment, Ms. Wren. It's truth. For once, Cassidy had no comeback. The judge ordered immediate paternity testing. Child Services took the baby, gently, professionally, but still took him. Cassidy actually tried to film herself crying in the hallway, whispering into her phone. They stole my baby. Please send help, my followers. A bailiff confiscated the phone mid-sob. Thank God. Briggs, our PI, was waiting, outside with a folder the size of a New York deli sandwich. Inside, Cassidy's full scam history. Fake charity websites, rental contracts under 4 aliases, Venmo transactions labeled baby accessories from at least 3 different men. Oh, and a Facebook message from 2021 where she offered someone $5,000 for a quiet private adoption. Cash, no lawyers? Yeah. The case stopped being about custody. This was now fraud, kidnapping, wire fraud, and identity theft. The state took over. Cassidy was arrested 2 days later while recording a live stream about healing after male abuse. She was mid-sentence when they cuffed her. I'm being silenced, she shrieked as the mic clipped to her dress fell to the pavement. Irony really is undefeated. Meanwhile, the DNA tests came back. Rachel was the mother. No question. The baby was hers. 100%. She collapsed into tears when the judge confirmed it in court. I watched her hold her son like she'd won the lottery and just wanted to keep the ticket warm. But the second test, the one about me, no match. Obviously. But man, seeing that paper in my hands, knowing it was over, the relief almost knocked me off my feet. Cassidy had faked everything. The pregnancy, the story, the identity, the outrage, all of it, and still. She doubled down. From jail, she managed to release a handwritten statement through her support page. Said she was a victim of a misogynist system, a broken society, and male trauma denial. Whatever that means. She claimed Rachel was unstable, said I was obsessed with her. Called Clay a deep state puppet. We framed her. All of us. But nobody was buying it anymore. Not after the truth came out, because while Cassidy was live streaming healing energy sessions, Rachel had been filing police reports. I'd been fighting for my life. And the baby? The baby had been a pawn in her influencer fantasy. Turns out trauma doesn't give you permission to commit felonies. The GoFundMe was shut down. Donors demanded refunds. A class action suit was filed. Cassidy's TikTok, banned. Instagram, gone. YouTube, nuked. Her empire of lies collapsed like a cheap backdrop, and she went from luxe girl boss to county inmate faster than she could say. Algorithm. Rachel filed for full custody. She got it. I testified on her behalf. I wasn't legally required to, but I did it anyway, because if someone had believed me earlier, maybe none of this would have happened. Outside court, Rachel hugged me. I never thought anyone would believe me, she said, shaking. I smiled. I didn't think anyone would believe me either. Then we both just laughed. Not because it was funny, because after months of being accused, chased, manipulated, and publicly humiliated, it was the only thing left to do. We'd survived Cassidy Vane. That alone was worth celebrating. Cassidy's trial started 3 months later, but the fallout? That hit immediately. My face was plastered across drama channels, reaction streams, even true crime podcasts. Titles like The Baby Scam Queen Exposed and TikTok Mom or Criminal Mastermind were everywhere. They used clips from Cassidy's videos, grainy court footage, and even my old LinkedIn photo where I looked like I'd just discovered corporate betrayal. I was Roy the liar to her followers. Then I was Roy the victim. Then it flipped again. Cassidy's inner circle, her real-life minions, turned on her hard. One of them, a woman named Keely, went viral with a 19-minute TikTok called I Was Her Best Friend. Until I found the birth certificate. It exploded. Keely exposed everything. Cassidy forged legal papers, manipulated donation receipts, and once offered her $300 to rent her cousin's baby for Instagram content. My gut told me something was off, Keely said, blinking into the camera. But she always had a justification, always some trauma backstory to weaponize. Cassidy didn't just lie. She industrialized it, and suddenly everyone wanted to believe me, which was honestly more disturbing than reassuring. Because where were they when she posted her baby bump and said I ghosted her? Where were they when Lila left me? Speaking of Lila, she reached out, a short, cautious message. Just said, I saw the news. I'm sorry, I was wrong. No punctuation, no warmth, just regret in plain text. I didn't respond. Because here's the thing. I didn't want her back. I wanted peace. And maybe, just maybe, justice. And that part? That was finally coming together. The prosecution had built a rock-solid case. Charges included custodial interference, identity theft, wire fraud, falsifying legal documents, impersonating a medical worker, and yes, child trafficking. It was that last one that made my blood run cold. Cassidy hadn't just hurt me or Rachel, she'd hurt the baby, stolen his early months, built content off of his face, called him legend like he was a damn fashion accessory. The state didn't. Go easy on her. Her lawyer, not the original TikTok one, he quit the second she was arrested, tried every angle. Mental health, postpartum delusions, online harassment. The judge didn't budge. Neither did the jury, I testified. So did Rachel. So did the nurse from St. Luke's, who remembered Rachel showing up terrified, saying, I think someone is pretending to be me. Even Briggs took the stand. Told the court how Cassidy stalked adoption forums under fake names, targeted women in distress, and played the perfect savior until the papers were signed. One witness was a woman from Georgia who claimed Cassidy had contacted her while pregnant, offering a safe home birth environment. She'd declined. Thank God. It took the jury 4 hours. Verdict. Guilty on all counts. Cassidy didn't flinch when they read the verdict, didn't cry, didn't look surprised. She just turned to the gallery and muttered, I guess the world hates successful women. The judge sentenced her to 22 years in federal prison. Her reaction? She laughed. Actually laughed. Guess I finally went viral, she said as they cuffed her. Unbelievable. Rachel collapsed into tears when the sentence was read. She held her son, and whispered, You're safe now. I sat in the back, gripping the edge of my seat, feeling everything and nothing all at once. It was over, sort of, because life doesn't just snap back to normal after something like that. Rachel moved to Oregon, close to her sister. She started therapy, got a job at a women's shelter. She sends updates now and then, pictures of her son, birthday invites I never attend but always appreciate. We stay in touch, quietly. Once she texted me, You saved both of us, but the truth is, I didn't. I just refused to let a narcissist rewrite my reality. And honestly, that might be the only real superpower I've got. As for me, I changed everything. New job, new city, sold the Camaro project and bought a pickup. Spent 6 months off social media entirely. I deleted the past, started over. And somewhere between all the therapy sessions, courtrooms, and caffeine-fueled breakdowns, I finally understood something. People like Cassidy, they only win when they get to control the narrative, but when you take that back, they implode. 6 months passed. Cassidy was behind bars. Rachel had her son. I was free, or so I thought. I moved to Flagstaff, small town, quiet life, started freelance systems work again. It was peaceful. I wasn't looking over my shoulder. My name wasn't trending anymore, until one Friday afternoon in July, I got a package. No return address, no branding. Just a brown envelope slid under my apartment door like some budget spy movie. Inside, a flash drive and a note. You should know what she was. Planning next. No signature. I stared at it like it might explode. Called Clay. Is this a trap? I asked. He sighed. It's Cassidy. Of course it's a trap, but we're opening it. So we did, plugged it into his encrypted work laptop in his office. The folder was called Plan B. Inside, a full media kit, logos, branding, scripts, dozens of TikTok drafts with captions like, They stole my baby, but they can't steal my truth. My ex was a narcissist. Here's how I survived. The government tried to erase me. I'm still here. She'd planned a full rebrand, new name, new story, new identity, but that wasn't the worst part. There were photos, dozens, of me, from after the trial, in Flagstaff, at a gas station, walking into my gym, grocery store parking lot, zoomed in, cropped, stalked. Cassidy hadn't been acting alone. She'd had someone on the outside, watching me. Clay clicked through the folders with his face frozen. There were notes, schedules, my building layout, a screenshot of my lease agreement, copies of Rachel's new address. "What the hell is this?" I said. Clay didn't answer. He was staring at a photo labeled The Backup. It was Rachel, at a park, with her son. Another long lens shot. There was a caption. "In case I need to try again, I swear the air got 10 degrees colder in that office." Cassidy had been planning to fake a second story. Another baby, another scandal, another victim. But here's where it got worse. Briggs ran forensic recovery on the drive. He found deleted messages, encrypted emails between Cassidy and someone with the username, AkarmaMommy88, and the contents made my stomach twist. "I've got another girl lined up. Scared, alone, no ID. She thinks she's getting a doula. Can you forge another home birth doc? We'll say Roy came back. Emotional rekindling, PTSD narrative, TikTok eats that up." This wasn't just Cassidy freelancing madness anymore. It was a system, a whole racket, a black market content scam. Part child exploitation, part identity theft, part social media monetization. We weren't dealing with a crazy ex. We were dealing with an underground operation that weaponized motherhood for profit. Clay took the drive straight to federal investigators. Rachel was placed under protective surveillance. I got a temporary security detail. Cassidy's communications were pulled from prison. And guess what? She'd been communicating through third parties. A prison pen pal scheme. Women posting her sad letters online. But behind the scenes, she was orchestrating the next act. The feds moved fast. They raided 3 addresses listed in the messages. One was a so-called maternity retreat center in Utah. No licenses, no records, just air mattresses and ring lights. They arrested a woman named Bianca, one of Cassidy's early collaborators. She confessed almost immediately, told them. Cassidy promised her celebrity victim status, payout shares from GoFundMe scams, and a book deal ghostwritten by an ex-TV producer. This wasn't viral fame gone wrong. It was manufactured victimhood turned business. And it wasn't just me and Rachel. There were others. A guy in Denver scammed into thinking he had a daughter. A single mom in Florida who was promised financial help in exchange for content custody. A whole list of targets on a spreadsheet marked emotional angle high. And all of it traced back to Cassidy. The woman who once cried on TikTok about not affording organic baby formula was running a digital Ponzi scheme powered by trauma bait and baby theft. The feds filed new charges: racketeering, conspiracy, exploitation of vulnerable adults. Cassidy was transferred to a federal holding facility. No TikTok filters there. And me? I sat in Clay's office, staring at the drive that had nearly lit my life on fire a second time. "I thought this was over," I whispered. Clay shook his head. "With her, nothing's over, not until the lights go out on her ego." I never thought I'd be asked to testify before a federal grand jury, but in October, that's exactly where I was, seated behind a microphone, swearing to tell the truth, while prosecutors read excerpts from Cassidy's private emails out loud. Every detail made my skin crawl. She'd used trauma like currency. Grief, monetized postpartum struggles, content pillars, abandoned children. High engagement optics, and she'd planned it all from her kitchen, using Canva and a whiteboard labeled Fame Blueprint. By the time the jury was done, Cassidy wasn't just facing more jail time. She was being indicted as the ringleader of a nationwide fraud. Conspiracy. The influencer victimhood ring, as the media called it. Turns out Cassidy had built a cult-like network of grifters. Lonely women with a camera and an internet connection, willing to pretend, exploit, and scam in exchange for viral sympathy and cash. She'd recruited from online support groups, mental health forums, domestic abuse chat rooms. And I had been patient zero, the man she used to test her first fake narrative. The trial that followed became a media circus. True crime podcasts called her the TikTok Gypsy Rose. Cable news dubbed it Momfluencer. Madness. Netflix even greenlit a documentary. They called me, but I said no. This story didn't belong on a binge-watch queue. It belonged in the past. Still, I watched from afar as Cassidy was sentenced again, this time 35 years federal. Chapter Judge's closing words stuck with me. Ms. Vane, you weaponized compassion. You created horror in the name of healing. And you will now live with the legacy you forged. Not as a mother, not as a martyr, but as a manipulator who burned every bridge and called it empowerment. Cassidy didn't cry. She never did. Just tilted her head and said, "People will still remember my name." They will. But not the way she thinks. The trial exposed every corner of her empire. Her top collaborators were arrested. Platforms rolled out new ID verification tools for fundraising. And most importantly, Rachel's story went public. Not the Cassidy version, the truth. She appeared on 60 Minutes, told the world what really happened, held her son on her lap while she explained how healing isn't found in hashtags, it's found in surviving. She became a national advocate for reforming online charity laws, helped pass the Digital Fraud Prevention Act, got invited to the White House, got her life back. And me? I stayed quiet, moved again, back to Texas this time, got a job managing cybersecurity for a non-profit. The irony doesn't escape me. Protecting systems from manipulation after being manipulated myself. I kept a low profile until one spring morning. A knock at my door. Rachel. She was visiting friends in Austin and decided to stop by. We had coffee on the porch. Talked about nothing and everything. Her son, her real son, was starting kindergarten. I asked how she felt. She smiled. Grateful, tired, alive. Then she looked at me. And you? You okay? For the first time in a long time, I said yes. And meant it. She stood to leave, then hesitated. Reached into her bag, pulled out something wrapped in newspaper. I wanted you to have this. I unwrapped it. It was my old car emblem, the one from the Camaro I sold during the madness. She'd saved it. I found it in a box during the custody. Search, she said. I thought it was trash. Then I remembered your story, figured you might want a piece of who you were. Before all this, I didn't say anything, just held it. That emblem had been covered in dust, buried under lies, forgotten, in chaos, just like me. But now it was in my hands again. I smiled. Thanks, I said. She nodded and walked away. I watched her drive off, and I realized something. Cassidy didn't win. She'd tried to steal a baby, rewrite a past, exploit a movement. And yet, here we were. Rachel, whole again. Her son, safe. Me, scarred, but free. You see, the story Cassidy tried to tell ended with a broken man and a heroic mother who rose from the ashes of male betrayal. But the real story ends here, with no followers, no filters, no drama, just truth and peace and a dusty old emblem in my hand, proof that even after everything, some things can still be restored. And here it is, the finale of today's story. Did everything turn out as you imagined, or did it end unexpectedly? I'd love to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and let's dive into the discussion together. If this story kept you in suspense, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? This is your chance to join an incredible community where exciting new stories unfold every day. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date. Thanks for your attention and see you on your new adventures.